Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Corner. Today, with you, episode 12? Yeah, 12. Today, I have with me my co-host, Daniel. Daniel, say hi.
Hi.
And we have our good friend, Paige, back with us again. Say hi, Paige.
Hello.
All right, so we have a little bit more of a fancy setup. Thank you to our friend over at Now That I'm Awake podcast. A little plug for you. So I told you guys last episode that we have a special thing going on, and that special thing is a partnership. So we got a partnership with a place called Coffee in the Park, and they are a little local coffee store, and they serve great coffee, and honestly, they're really nice people there, and it's just a nice environment. I will link their Instagram and their other social media down in the comments down below, down in the description down below, and I will. I will just be drinking their coffee for the rest of the time. So, today we're going to be talking about Mr. Rogers. And how Mr. Rogers not only has affected the people around him, but the world itself, and how he was such a unique individual.
Wholesome man.
Right. He was a wholesome man. And honestly, we don't have enough of that anymore. So how Mr. Rogers has affected our lives. Whenever we were younger. I mean, I know he died in like 1997 or so, around there. But there's still people like all over in the early 2000s continuing that still watch Mr. Rogers. And we were one of those families. So Mr. Rogers, we whenever we're watching him, we didn't really realize. Oh, he died in 2003. Thank you, Daniel. But we didn't really, I guess, appreciate what he was making because we were so young. But how has he affected your life, guys?
I did not. I don't think I actually directly started like watching him until I was until way later on, till I think it was 8. And whenever we had was PBS to watch, and we were we had Odd Squad, Daniel Tiger, and Mr. Rogers. And so
Well, they didn't make Daniel Tiger until after he died.
Yeah, no, but by that time by the time I was 8, he had already passed away.
I know.
I've never seen like an episode of Mr. Rogers on TV. I've just looked up videos on YouTube because with my family life, I didn't get to do that.
And honestly, I think the best part about one of the best part about the show is that the fact of that he is not a character. He is himself. That's himself playing, and I find that very interesting because you could tell how with it he was. He played a lot of characters on the show. That's something that the movie. It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood actually brought up. We just watched that the other day. And it brought that up, and you don't really realize that he was playing Daniel Tiger and the Prince and some other puppets here and there. And he honestly, he enjoyed what he did, and he couldn't put it down for a while there.
Wasn't he Christian too?
Yeah, he was a Christian, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And me and Daniel have talked about this multiple times, how our childhood, like the people that we watch in our childhood, the people who are so nice have a harsh past. People. I mean, Bob Ross, like you said.
Yeah, he was a drill sergeant, wasn't he?
In the
Yeah, he was a drill sergeant, and
yeah.
people said they were like, I would have never guessed he was here.
Yeah, and if there was a lot of time, there's been a lot of times that I've been scared to look up my childhood heroes just because I don't want to find charges against them or stuff like that, but I've seen some of the stuff against Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers, and I mean honestly, both of them haven't really had that much drama behind them.
Have you seen the post? I think it's somewhere on the internet. I don't know where, but they're what if all of Bob Ross's paintings were just places he hid his bodies?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because people see these characters and then they're like, people, the way that people deal with things is with comedy. So whenever you deal with the passing or something of someone, then you have to deal with comedy with it. Especially now with quarantine and everything. That's a different subject. But Mr. Rogers really has affected a lot of children in his time. He went to children's hospitals all the time. He would respond to every single letter he gotten, which that was about 50 to 100 or 200 a day. So
How much do you want to bet if he was alive right now during the quarantine and stuff, that all he would need to do is just be like, just stay inside, guys. And everybody would listen because it's Mr. Rogers.
But here's the thing about him though, because he wasn't afraid to touch on the touchier subjects, and that was really an amazing part of it because there was a lot of shows that were like,
Well,
it's the same thing with Arthur. I feel like that's
it's what people needed to hear.
yes, it's what people needed to hear, but no one wanted to say it because of how touchy it was, But Mr. Rogers realized that after he thought he took a 3-year break or so.
He took a risk.
Yeah, he took a risk. Yeah, no, that really put his show in danger, But people really enjoyed it because they knew that their children needed to hear that. But another thing is, he didn't just affect the children; he affected a lot of adults as well. Even though it was targeted towards kids and it was a kids show, still a lot of adults were fans of him because their parents would listen over and they'd be like, "That's some really good stuff."
And it would help the parents with being parents, because parents are just kids growing up, and
Well, he really showed patience too. That's what parents need patience with their kids. So that's one thing that he showed. And honestly, he didn't take a camera like everyone else does, and no one that was behind the scenes. He wasn't.
He was
doing it.
genuine.
Yeah, he was genuine. That's exactly. Yeah, that's right. He was an a influence to many lives, which made him more of a hero than a lot of people today. Because we look up to singers and everything, and we see their lives, but they're not really speaking to us as people. But really, he was through a lot, so he was wise about things. He knew what the kids were going through, and he liked to address that. Yeah.
Is there anywhere to tell why he acted the way he did?
I think it's because he just saw how much was going on, and just because he had such a harsher past too, so he wanted.
That's
that
what
to
I'm
be
saying.
different.
Is there anywhere that tells what his past was like before becoming known
You'll
as
probably
Mr.
find
Rogers?
something on.
I think
Didn't he even address it on?
I
one
think
of
he
the-
was
one of
also
his
a soldier.
episodes?
Yeah, he talked about it. Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, but he was he was really a original, like Paige said, genuine kind of person, because we don't get any of that today a lot. I mean, they made a reboot of him. It was Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood,
Oh
my God.
and it was
I
about
hate
his
it.
puppet. I mean, it's not the same, but there's still the idea of it's, as much as we look at it and be like, oh, I hate change, I hate this. It still could affect many kids still today. As much as we want to disagree with it. And and there isn't too many shows like that at all anymore that we have. But he was humble at the same time, because he knew that people looked up to him, but he didn't encourage the fame. He didn't want the fame. It wasn't about that. It was about helping the kids. And he would tell about his mistakes before he would say say what he's doing right.
I don't think he ever tried to play the show up either. Try and involve what was in at the time. He just stayed true to what his show was about.
Yeah.
And if you didn't like it, well, oh well.
Yeah.
He was very much a family man. So much so that even his sweaters were made by his mom. His signature sweater, the main thing that he's known for is his sweaters
And his tennis shoes.
Yeah, and his mom.
Yeah, I read that he would wear his shoes to the set, and then he would just actually go on play of taking them off.
Him changing was him actually changing. It was one of now they have the sweaters and shoes in a lot of museums.
Oh yeah, there's one in the Pittsburgh Museum.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh
Oh my
Museum.
goodness, I
think,
love the-
isn't it, can't remember what the name of the museum is, but yeah, it's a museum in Pittsburgh that they have him in. And
I love the train station in the one museum
Oh,
because
yeah.
it has
Oh,
his
yeah.
house, and then it has
Oh
him
yeah,
rocking in the
in
swing.
the Carnegie Science Center.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They have a miniature train set, and in it they featured Mr. Rogers' house.
I think they do that in like 2 places just for him.
Yeah, I think.
This is delicious coffee.
Wait, don't
It
look.
is.
Yeah, I think they have the trolley.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the trolley go through.
Yeah, they do. And then they have his house,
Mm-hmm.
which you can actually
And
look
that's the
inside
thing
the
too.
house.
His everything that he had, like there was a lot of stuff that he had was characterized. So stuff like his everything that he had was pointed towards him. So it's like not pointed towards him exactly, but like his sweater and everything. Whenever you would see that like a sweater like that, you'd be like Mr. Rogers. You know,
It's
that's
his
not.
signature.
Yeah, it would be his signature, like that trolley.
After we got done watching the movie, the first thought I had was I need to wear more cardigans.
Yeah.
Because I have.
Did you
the
guys
one right
cry?
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
totally.
yeah,
I
Definitely.
have
Oh
yet
my
to see the
goodness.
movie.
Yeah, you're gonna tear up.
You definitely need to see the movie. It's so sweet.
But
Oh, I bet.
but yeah, like you said, he had his flaws in his family and in himself. But you know he took a break for a while because he saw he was kind of pushing away his kids a little bit more. His kids were not being pushed away, but they were just straying away more than he had hoped. And so he took a break from the show for a little bit because he thought he had taught everything that was to be taught. And then that's whenever he started going into the touchier subjects because he's like, there was so much more to teach because he was teaching his kids and at the same time he was learning.
Mm-hmm.
And he points that out to himself that he's constantly learning. And honestly, like that's what we all should still be doing, you know. And he's trying to tell us that, you know.
Yeah, he even addressed it was near like his death, but he even had a short address on the 9/11 attacks whenever those happened, and God, you're talking about serious. I mean, especially for those times, it was one of the bigger topics.
And he was
to talk
helping
about.
kids out personally with that too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, whenever he was getting those
Well, I mean,
letters.
think about it. Some kids that watched them probably lost some parents.
Oh yeah.
And they're probably also confused on why their parents that,
Mhm.
didn't get affected by it were freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was
It's scary to see your parents freaking out.
he was okay to address that, you know. He like whenever people would write letters or something about like their family or what happened during those times, he would respond and he would be genuine. It wasn't like a typed out message that was a pretty message that he sent to everyone like, "Hi, thanks for reaching out." No. He would personally talk to these kids and, you know, he would continue talking to these kids for a while, you know.
I know
And-
this is a really out of the box question, but who do you guys think the Mr. Rogers is for our generation?
Mr. Rogers is for our generation.
I think really Mr. Rogers is like our Mr. Rogers for our generation.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm looking forward to the
I-
future.
yeah, like but I don't think he's going to have as big as an impact in upcoming generations.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, I know a
who
lot
do
of
you
people
think?
who didn't watch him at all. You know, like there's like I ask a couple of these kids.
It's like you can tell.
Yeah, no, you can tell. In children's church, you know, you guys know what that is, but people on the podcast don't. But I have to teach a bunch of kids, and then I ask them if they know who Mr. Rogers is. Almost all of them don't. Like
Or
there's,
my brothers.
Mhm.
One.
I think your brothers knew. I'm not sure.
Good.
You gotta ask him whenever you get home.
I will.
Yeah, and that's why he affected so many. Like he affected so many lives, is because he was such a strange change of pace for what the time was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think unless you guys have anything to add, you guys have anything? No?
This coffee's really good.
This coffee is really good, and you can get that at. I don't have the site, but you can get that in the description down below. So go ahead
Put a
and check.
link.
Yeah, I'll put a link.
I believe this
Definitely
blend
recommend
is.
the blueberry.
It's the
the-
blueberry muffin blend. Yeah.
I thought it was the house blend.
This is the perfect way
I
to
never
start off
mind.
a morning. Right
Oh
here.
yeah, and then that's all. That's what this whole podcast is about.
Yeah.
We should.
All right.
We should do like leave a comment to like see like to with your opinion on this. We should do like a segment on each of our episodes on like one tip for having a good morning.
Yeah. Now, if you guys have anything that you suggest down below, of course, as we always tell you, leave it down in the comments. We'd love to hear your feedback.
One word. Strong, or 2 words. Sorry. Strong coffee.
Strong coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes some like that. Sometimes that passes me out.
All right, guys. So, have a lovely rest of your day, and tune in sometime. I think tomorrow, whenever we will be having our next one. So, bye everyone.
Bye.